All right. Hello. Good afternoon. I am Gail Green, the chairwoman of the Hamilton County Republican Party, and I'm excited to be here with my commissioner, Chip Baker. Chip, we're going to get right into this and get to know you a little bit better. Please introduce yourself to the voters of Hamilton County. Tell us your name, elected position, and how long you've been serving in this capacity.
Okay, thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. I think this is a great idea for, all our constituents, which means the entire county, gets to know different commissioners and what they're about and what they represent and what their track record is and why they do what they do. So I'm Chip Baker. I have moved here to Chattanooga in 1992 from Dallas, Texas. I got involved in politics in the year 2000 when someone came to see me about she was on the school board and wanted me to run. And my wife and I, since we moved here, had four children that are native Chattanoogans, so they outnumbered us in our household 2-1. But the big push on in District 2, which includes mostly Signal Mountain, was a high school and I had changed careers in 1999. I spent 20 years as a hospital administrator, and then the next 20 years running Riverbend, of all things, because I'm not a musical person. I'm a business person. And so in 2000, when that person approached me, they asked me to run for school board, and I said, I don't know. I mean, what do you do? How do you raise money? How do you campaign? These are all things I had no idea. But my wife's father in Texas was in the state legislature, and she was very involved in politics at Texas A&M. So she really is the smart one behind how you do things and how you get things done and how you make things happen. So we said, what the heck? Let's do it. So I was on the school board from 2000 to 2012. The big push that they had discussed for 50 years was the high school. Well, we got it approved in 6 years, and we got it built 2 years after that, so it opened in 2008. What I realized when I was on the school board is that I brought a different perspective. Again, I'm a business person by training. I don't care if it's hospital management, event management. Management is management. It's getting things done through others. And so I realized I could make a difference. I did take a period of time off from 2012 to 2018. And there's a whole story behind that, but I'm not going to get into it. And and but anyway, in 2018, I ran for county commission. People had asked me to run m many times, and having been of service before and realizing I could make a difference, I did that, and have loved being representative of not only District 2, but the people of Hamilton County. I think I bring a very sound business mind to a group of folks that aren't necessarily business oriented. So I think that's my greatest strength.
Awesome. Okay, well, you already jumped a little bit into my next question, which was
Mm,
going to be
Sorry.
tell me about your family and what inspired you to run for office. Do you want to add to that at all, or do you feel like you covered that pretty well?
Well, yeah, I'd expand a little bit. So I grew up in a small town in Ohio, and my dad was a doctor. My mom was a nurse. You can imagine how they met. But my mom did a lot of community service and was Woman of the Year for this town of 30,000 people. And she really expected her children to give back. That was instilled in us from an early age, that you should not be a taker, you should be a giver, and you should make your community better. And so, and that was also my wife's family, since her father, who was a rancher in the panhandle of Texas, served under Patton in World War II, but he, as an agricultural extension agent, was used to helping other ranchers and farmers, and I think that gave him the bug also. So, community service is an important thing that was instilled in both my wife's uh, life as well as mine.
Yeah. great. Yeah, and you do a lot of community service. That is what I'm learning more and more. I see all of you elected officials, you are everywhere doing all the things. So I can really appreciate that. Tell us about how many people you represent, and then if you could distill it kind of down a little bit to the essential duties of your office.
Yeah, so in 2022, we used to have 9 commissioners and about 36,000 per district. There was a redistricting in 2022, and we added 2 more commissioners, and so it kind of watered down the district a little bit from 36 to 32,000. And I represent District 2, mostly Signal Mountain. It goes into Falling Water and about halfway up Mowbray Mountain. And that's the district. Again, as a commissioner, yes, you have a district. Those are the people that elect you, but you also, your job is to represent the county as a whole. The county commission, it's kind of interesting in Tennessee versus other states that if, like when I was on the school board, if I was in, let's say, Ohio, and I wanted to add services, which might mean I have to raise taxes, then I would go to the people and I would have to put forward why I was going to raise their taxes. And of course, no one likes their taxes raised, so that's a tough move. That's not how it works in Tennessee. In Tennessee, the school board puts together a budget and then they hand it over to the commission and say, "You fund this." And so it creates a very something of a friction filled scenario that, I mean, it'd be nice if I could say, "Hey, Gail, um, I think I'm going to need $100. Would you go find it for me?" And so that's how it works. And so it's important for a commissioner and a school board member of their same district to have a good relationship. I do with Ben Dougherty. We communicate fairly frequently, particularly at budget time. I will question not only the school budget, because our budget is about 1.1 billion, we're just a little over a billion, not quite 1.1. And about 63% of our budget goes to the school system. So, and there's another thing called maintenance of effort, that if the commission gave the school board $100 this year, then next year we have to maintain that effort and give them at least that same 100. If we raise it to 150, the next year it has to be at least 150. So that's kind of simplistic terms of how we do it. The rest of the money we fund the various offices in the county, including the office of the mayor or sheriff's department. And that's really the main role of the commission, is that we oversee the finances of the county. Now, we're also not a home rule county, which means we can't make laws in Hamilton County. Now, Knox County can. So Knox County can make a law. We in Hamilton County are dependent on our state delegation to help us with that. And so that's, again, an important distinction. So it's not only do we oversee the operation of the county, but their predominant impact are on the finances of the county.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about could you tell us a little bit about a typical work week? What that looks like for you?
No, I couldn't. That each week is different.
Okay,
Uh,
fair.
it's like just before I came on this interview, I was helping a constituent with something that took some time. Yesterday we had commission meeting. That could fill the bulk of a day. When we're doing budgets, or we just finished, and when we haven't finished, but we just did our first pass of Plan Hamilton, that takes a ton of time. I mean, I think if you look at you divide the hours you're working with what you get paid, it's into the pennies. But that's okay. I don't do this for the money. I don't do this to propel myself to another position. 33 years ago, we moved here and didn't know a soul. We raised our family here, and it's an opportunity for us, Carlette and Chip Baker, to give back to the place that has given us so much.
What do you love the most about your job, about being a commissioner?
Oh, clearly helping people.
Yeah.
I'm a business person, so I see an opportunity, I plan it out. Now, sometimes the wheels of government aren't the fastest. I literally had a lady, it was a sad story, because this lady was a nurse. She lived in one of those container boxes, didn't have water, power, sewer. She'd gotten into drugs. She was dealing drugs. Um, and on the other side of the fence from where her big container was a family with two small children and other families. And so they contacted me and of course I wanted to help her, but she was 62 years old, so I couldn't force her to services. She'd spent time in and out of jail. But we finally got it resolved. It took a lengthy period of time, but that's my job. My job is to help the little things as well as the big things. I'd say big things are like budgets, little things are personal issues that are important to the people of my district in this case, because I don't reach into another district and that's the responsibility of their respective commissioner. Now, if they ask for help, I'll of course help them. But my job is to take care of, specifically the constituents of District 2.
Awesome. Okay. Well, wonderful. And I I can tell that you enjoy helping people, and you're such a people person. Every time
Hmm.
I've been around you, you are just, I can tell you like to get to know people and you want to know what makes them tick. So
Absolutely.
it's
I
been
mean, that's the key to me. And I think we've had this discussion before. I like developing relationships because that helps me understand what makes them tick. And, now I may not like the way they tick, but I understand the way they tick. And if I need something from them, I need to know the way they tick.
Yeah.
So that's important.
Yes, sir, it is. Okay, well, last question. When are you up for reelection and what do you want Republican voters in Hamilton County to know about you?
So I'll pick up papers in December. I'm having my first fundraiser in October. Um,
Because you're up for reelection in
in
20.
2026. Thank you.
Okay.
So I'll pick up papers in December. We'll probably qualify in a day. You have to get 25 signatures. Oh, I got a funny story on that. So in 2018, when I ran, um, we had a bunch of people over at our house, and we had a little party and gathering and food and maybe a little drink, and they signed the petition, and we had a very young Australian Shepherd dog that the next day we noticed that we couldn't find the petition. Well, the dog ate the homework. She literally ate the petition.
Oh my
And
God.
so my wife fished it um, out of the trash can, taped it back together. I took it to the election commission and they accepted it.
Oh
And
my
it was
God.
literally the dog ate my homework. It was the funniest thing ever. I've got a great
Wow,
picture of it.
that's crazy.
So you'll qualify December to February, and then there's primary in May, and then the election in August of 26.
All right. And do you want Republican voters to know anything
Oh,
specific about you?
of course. I'm a conservative. I was raised that way. I don't know anything different. As a business person, I don't care if you're in the for-profit world or nonprofit world. Nonprofit is a tax status. It's not a business strategy. You've got to make money. You've got to have your revenues exceed your expenses. And so, as a conservative, you have to live within your means. Would I like the newest, greatest, you name it? Of course. But if it's not within our means, we shouldn't do it. We should do everything we can to provide the best services to our community. to make sure that, and not, go back and say, well, we're going to raise your taxes and we're going to raise your taxes, kind of like Red Bank did. I was like, I watched that. I couldn't believe, frankly, that the people of Red Bank said that's okay. And they reelected their leadership. That's their prerogative, but I don't understand that. So I'm a conservative. I'm a business person. I'm one of the few on the commission that is truly run businesses, and I think that's a huge asset. Um, I'm not an ideologist. Ideologist. Um, so someone who thinks in all these peripheral things. I'm a very practical person. We've got a job to do. We've got a budget with which to do it, and that's what we should use, and that's what we should get done.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. You all in Hamilton County have heard from our District 2 Commissioner, Chip Baker. We thank you. And I hope that if people have questions, they can reach out to you. Go ahead and tell us the best way. Is it a
Yeah,
phone
just
number or
just
an
just
email
call me.
address?
Yeah, 423-593.
No. Don't give it out here. But I do
Oh,
think hopefully they can call you, and they can find your number, I think, on the county website, I want to say.
yeah, I'm happy to give you my private number, even
Well,
here.
we'll let them reach out to me to get your private number. How about
Okay, okay,
that?
you've got my number. I know
That's
that.
right. That's right. I'll put you in touch if you have any questions.
Okay, yeah,
All right.
happy
Well,
to. Or they can email at the commission office, and there's a number there. Get a hold of you for sure. You're welcome to give them my number.
great.
I do that all the time, and that's my job.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much. Have a wonderful
Okay,
rest of your day.
thank you. Appreciate it.